don't understand what's going on here.
Give me a break, give me a break.
I don't understand what's going on here.
Give me a break, give me a break.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that once again. I've turned my SLI off, so I'm hoping that will get rid of the stutter. There was no reason for the frames to be dropping, so I'm hoping that fixes it. So here we go. Welcome to Acheron Waste. It's my pleasure to bring you Mousesports Mana, who has equalized the Series 1 apiece. He is in the blue trunks, he is playing Protoss to the northwest. Versus his opponent, it is the Joker, using CJ Sky High. Alright, yep, this is one of Major's many names. Yes, it is Major, the Joker, for complexity. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Terran to the southeast. So, for those who don't know, in the Acer Teamstory Cup, you can bring along a Joker player if you feel like your roster is not quite strong enough, which means basically a mercenary. So, in this case, we have Major, who is a teamless player. It's a pretty cool way to allow some of the teamless players to compete in another league. And, of course, a good way to flesh out your roster. In the StarCraft 2 League, SC2L, we actually used Grubby as one of our mercenaries, as our only mercenary, in fact, for Axiom, since our lineup was only 4 at that point. Now that it's 5, we don't feel any need to have something like that, but Major coming out, he's pretty strong. I mean, the STC was complaining about lag there. It's entirely possible, unfortunately. I mean, he was playing from Korea to the American server. You can have lag. That can happen. Thankfully, it wasn't on a European server. That would have been way, way better. But we did see a little bit of sloppy control there by the STC, but frankly, I don't think his loss really came down to that. I think the lack of harassment was a big key to that, and he let run-bys happen over and over again. He didn't protect himself well enough against zealot run-bys, and as a direct result, he took devastating economic damage. His engagements, especially towards the end, when it seemed like he'd kind of given up, were less great than I would have expected. But at that point, it's like, right, I probably lost. I'm just going to eat the storms. He didn't really eat too many big storms in the main engagements, though. So I don't know how much lag really affected him. But at the end of the day, if you don't drop the Protoss for like 30 minutes and you just allow him to get 4 bases and 3-3 and the perfect composition, then what results from that is really to be expected. Alright, going to be a Reaper opening here from Major. Again, very standard in this matchup, as you might imagine. And Mana's going to take 2 in each gas this time around. Probably exactly the same build. We're most likely going to see a Gateway, Cybercore, and then an expansion. And then after that, we might see the Robo come down on 1 gate for the Observer very, very early on. And then 2 additional gates, and then maybe Tech, Double Forge. That would be Mana's standard playstyle. But he may differentiate that. It's entirely possible. Also, please pay no attention to what appears to be a lawnmower outside. This is a neighborhood where mowing lawns appears to be a patriotic duty. I've never really quite understood that, but there it is. Mana actually going for the 1 gate expand, perhaps Robo after that, which would be totally fine. This is not an aggressive opening here from Major at all, but it does allow Major to pick up a probe. So that's pretty cool. It does scout the expansion, and it's going to confirm here for Mana that he doesn't really have to worry too much about what's going on. Mothership core out really early for Mana as well. Really early, actually. As, hey, this is the first unit I've got. He is playing super defensively. Not that you can't be annoying with it, but at the end of the day, it's a slow unit. You don't really want to lose it early game, and it's great to have it initially because any early pokes can be dealt with Photon Overcharge. It's also pretty good for chasing the Reaper off. Generally doesn't kill it because it can't outrun it, but you get the idea. So Mana's going to expand here, and this has been scouted quite effectively here by Major. The question is now, what does Major do? Well, Factory is coming down. Let's see what we see out of this. I mean, this is the really standard one Reaper into Reactor Barracks play, which then generally is followed up by a Factory, which can be followed up by tanks, or it can be followed up by Medivacs, and it looks like it might be that. But you can also go Banshee here, because you have a decent amount of Marines, and then you bring a Banshee out, and then you kind of get aggressive with that. He's also bringing out a Widow Mine as well, which is interesting, so we may see a push involving that. It also could be the full Marine 2 Widow Mine drop, which generally transitions quite nicely out of that Reaper opening, because you get the Factory at around the right time to build 2 Widow Mines, get 1 Medivac, have at least 4 Marines available, then drop it and be an annoying pain in the ass. And of course, that's great against the Protoss, absolutely phenomenal against the Protoss, because those Widow Mines just destroy probes very easily, which they don't do so well to other things. As you can see, 40 splash damage is, say, not enough to kill SCVs. It murders probes horribly, though. Absolutely. Kills Stalkers really well, too. So, it's hard to complain. Now, bear in mind that Mana is already kind of prepared for this, because he does have an Observer coming out. It is going to be out by the time that this hits, by the looks of it. And it's not going to be a drop as of yet, but I think maybe he's going to pressure the front and then drop in the back. That's a possibility. Those are things that he could do. Reaper gets in again. That Reaper has been value. What can I say? It's going to die now, but it's going to scout the Twilight. It's going to scout the Twilight on 1 Forge instead of 2, and in comes the aggression immediately. The Time Warp really was a little late there, but it was enough. Good splitting there by Mana, and it looks like he's going to keep all these Stalkers alive, which is very impressive. That's a good control there by Mana. Mothership Core gets taken out, and actually 2 Observers take hits as well, which is hilarious, but in the meantime, that Reaper's actually in the back. This Reaper is ridiculous. It's done so much work. I'm so impressed with that Reaper. 10 Marines and a Widow Mine couldn't do what this Reaper did. It's been picking off probes all day, every day. It was wonderful. Good lord. Fantastic stuff here. And finally, I think it's going to die. It takes out 1 more probe. What a hero. It'll be remembered in the annals of history for that one. In comes the drop, scouted by the Observer. It's the 2 Widow Mine 4 Marine drop that I was talking about. And it looks like, actually, Mana's not going to directly defend it. He's got to be a little bit careful with his control here. I think he's going to lose a Stalker. No, it actually hits probe instead, so never mind. There are enough Marines there to chase these Stalkers out, I feel. And he picks up the Widow Mine, and he is gone. The lack of the alive Mothership Core with the Photon Overcharge meant that that was allowed to happen. So Major does a pretty good job of killing workers. I mean, he's killed 11 so far. This harassment's been great. Mana hasn't left his side of the maps, and Major, who is not sky high, don't believe his lies, is just ahead in pretty much every aspect right now. Now, we did see Mana go with a single Forge in the Twilight, which indicates to me he may want to consider Blink. His Stalker count, I mean, his unit count in general is pretty low. He might want to go for Stalkers, but wow, speed drop coming in. The Photon Cannon not done yet, and down go the Widow Mines, and detonation doesn't really do much. The Photon Cannon finishes just the right time, and it looks like Major's going to be driven away. Thankfully, there's no blink, so this is going to live. But a Marine push comes in again. Bear in mind, these are unupgraded. No stim, no combat shield on these guys, and no +1. So, rapidly, I think Mana's going to be at a good spot to deal with this. Yes, some economic damage has been done. There's no real question about that. Down goes the Observer. Nice play. But I'm still a little bit concerned about this upgrade lead coming in. Photon Overcharge is now in effect. Widow Mine was killed before it was able to burrow, so Mana has dealt with this relatively well. But you gotta say, even though economic damage has been done, units lost is not ideal. A lot of units killed, and they've mostly been, in fact, they've all been army units as well. So there's been a lot of units killed here by the Protoss player, and a lot of sacrifices made here by Major. A lot of Widow Mines, a Medivac, a bunch of Marines killed, and all this aggression means that all of his upgrades are behind. So we've got Combat Shield and Concussive Shell just starting. Stim is on the way. +1 infantry weapons. And we're going to see charge by the looks of it out of Mana, which I like, considering he's going for the armor single forge charge build, which is like, oh, hey, I'm going to go really, really Zealot heavy, because Zealots, 66% of their health is in the actual health pool and not the shields, which means that +1 armor and +2 armor is super effective against a heavy, low upgraded Marine count, which, of course, Mana knows is the case. However, this economic lead for Major cannot be understated. He's got a third base. And he's already damaged his opponent's pro count significantly, taking out 12. So he has the economic lead. Mana has to be a little bit careful that he just doesn't get out-massed here. And frankly, the +1 upgrade that he's got right now is about to be negated. Major really wants to attack right now. This would be a great time to do it, because the upgrades will be equal. Charge is not done yet. Storm is not done yet. And the actual unit count on the field for Mana, there's next to no units. We've got almost double the supply here for Major. This could be a perfect timing here for Major. If he has any sense whatsoever, he will attack right now. The rocks are going to delay him for a little bit, so we may see Storm come out. In fact, we are most likely going to see Storm be ready before this army attacks. That may make the difference, but Mana has an uphill battle ahead of him. He stims forward. Storm is now done. He stims forward a couple of units because he really wants to take out this Templar. Tries to go for the target fire, takes the Sentry out, loses a couple of units in the process. Still got to be careful about this engagement. The Templar are currently out of range right now, and there are just so many more units here for Major, and he didn't get a good engagement there at all. Just gotta watch out for those storms. Those, I think, are the only thing that can really turn this around. One photon overcharge is done. Major's in a really good spot to kill his opponent here, but he decides to back off. The longer he waits, of course, the more energy is available, the more storm is available here, and Major says, you know what? Okay, fine. I don't want to go for it. Ooh, could have maybe focused the Templar down there, and in fact, he's gonna go and try and do it! The concussive shell is in effect! One Templar goes down. Very, very nice. Surgical play there by Major. That's what we like to see. Major's still in a really good spot. Oh, down goes the factory and is now going to build a Widow Mine. Unfortunately, supply block, so that's not going to happen, but hey. Is delaying the third a little bit, and it also brings the army out of position. Another Templar. Storm just wings his opponent. Little bit of damage. Second Templar going to die. This is great. Oh, it doesn't die. Oh, Major's so close to taking that one out. But, man, army supply still heavily in favor of the Terran player right now. +2 about to finish. +1 attack nowhere near done for Mana here. Major's in a really, really good spot. Templar count is still at 6, though. So, the thing is, they're too low on energy to Storm. If Major goes right now, he can break that ramp, I feel. He's looking at the energy. He's thinking, do I want to go? And he says, I don't know if I want to go. This would be the time. It really, really would. Doesn't get the Observer, unfortunately, but if he waits any longer, there's going to be a lot of Storm, and that's going to be difficult to dodge. In comes the Stim. All right, he's going to engage on 2 fronts right now. He's going to try and flank. Mana is aware of it. Double Storm comes down. Significant damage being inflicted here, and has enough Zealots on that side. More Storms go down. Mana, you god! Look at that. Major's army gets absolutely destroyed. However, we should not underestimate the number of reinforcements that are coming behind this. Mana overextends, loses a few Zealots as well. Mana with a really efficient defense there. But the Templar count is down to 3, and the energy count even lower. Of course, we have a few Archons replacing those Templar. Overstimming maybe here from Major. That could cause him a problem or two. Takes out a couple of pylons. He's looking to do the big evacuation play here, and he's able to do that to the right. Very nicely done. In the meantime, that Archon gets attacked and says, Marauders, I can tank those all day, and rightfully so. Mana doing a decent job of defense. Warp Prism harassment now coming in, and this is what killed the STC. Not the Warp Prism harass, but just harass in general. And Mana is able to stop the third base from mining entirely, which is great, and is now going towards the main mineral line as well. Takes out a couple of those Marines quite nicely, and now the Zealots are going to get gunned down without mercy. Only one worker killed there. That's a little embarrassing, I've got to say. Obviously a bit of wasted mining time there, but that maybe could have been a little bit better. Medevac just randomly gets shot out of the air for no reason, I guess, that they didn't need that one anymore. It's like when you retire the old jets and you send them to that graveyard in Arizona. Pretty much like that. Engines were falling off. Seats were all worn down. There was like a stain that they couldn't remove. It's a tough job. This medevac count is really high. Sitting at 12 right now. It may be too high. Gotta watch out for that. Can be a little bit unfortunate if you have too many medevacs and you don't have enough ground units. And this army's getting close to maxed out as well. We're starting to see Vikings coming out now. There are no Colossus yet. There's going to be at least a couple of minutes before Colossus really come out on the field. So I think, again, Major has a good opportunity. Army supply is very, very high here, and the Templar count is... It was a lot lower, but he just warped in a bunch more. So maybe he can be aggressive on the third, but this is a choke point he really doesn't want to go into. There is a big possibility of massive storms here, and most of Major's army's there as well. EMPs go down. Snipes go down as well. There's not a lot of storm here. Puts a couple of these Templar in the Warp Prism. Storm Drop comes in, and the Storms are actually not that great. He does do a lot of damage to the Medivacs, but he misses the units. And as a direct result, this pressure can continue to come in here from the Terran player. Master-ranked Firepower comes in, and frankly, I think this is going to be the end of the third at least, if not the rest of the army. Another EMP hits the Archon. That army just fell to pieces, and there's the GG. Major brings down the hammer on his Protoss opponent. So there you go. Nicely played there by Major, and he brings it up to 2-1 here for complexity. So let's see who comes out next. Maybe it's time to break out Vortex here for Mousesports. That's a possibility. We may see Hazawobs come out, and of course there are a couple of Zerg options for Mousesports. We'll see who it is after this break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Acer Teamstory Cup Season 2 match between Mousesports and Complexity. We will be going into the next map very, very shortly indeed. It's going to be on Whirlwind, and we're seeing a Zerg player come out for the first time today. It is going to be Hope from Team Mousesports sent up to face against the Mighty Major. Let's see how this one goes for them. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Whirlwind. The biggest, most annoying map in the map pool that everybody now hates. It's true. Whirlwind used to be like, oh wow, look at this map. I know it used to be one of Ryung's favorites, but at this point, it's a little bit out of date. Obviously, we have kind of an older map pool here, so I think some tournaments are just phasing Whirlwind out entirely, but there you go. Anyway, we got Mousesports Hope. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the northeast of this particular map. The most puntastic of players, by the way. Every caster on the planet has at some point used the joke, he is the last hope for Mousesports. It's never been funny ever. In the northwest position, in the blue trunks, having taken out Mana convincingly, he is playing Terran. His name is Major, and he's not really part of Team Complexity at all. He's an imposter. He snuck in. He is, in fact, the Joker mercenary player for Complexity. One Joker or mercenary is allowed for each team per season. Alright, so there's one thing you need to know about Hope. Yeah, there's one thing you need to know. And I believe this actually happened in Acer Teamstory Cup Season 1. He all-killed Western Wolves in the qualifiers. All killed. He killed, let's see, it was Arthur, Starnan, Ziktamini, and Morrow. All kill. Impressive. Very impressive. He actually kept Western Wolves out of the Acer Teamstory Cup in Season 1. Which is interesting, because now the Western Wolves team is dominating Acer Teamstory Cup Season 2 because of their mercenary San and the excellent plays from Czech. Like, it's just... oh, they are ridiculously good at what they do. It's insane. Czech is just a monster. So, I have a feeling they're gunning for him. I really do. I don't think they've played Mousesports yet, but I think when they do, the first thing they're going to try and do is destroy Hope completely. Just for that. A little bit of petty revenge. But Hope is not to be underestimated. He's definitely one of the younger and newer players for Mousesports, but he can win games. He's good in team leagues, very good in team leagues. He often takes the map that he's asked to do, sometimes is able to double or triple that value. So, I can't complain about Hope's playstyle whatsoever. Major, as we've seen, is just rock-solid consistent throughout. He is more often than not playing in the WCS America Premier Division, which is very impressive considering that's basically GSL 2. So, he is competing very well against the Koreans. He's able to take games and series off them, which is something that most foreign Terrans can't do. So, that in itself is impressive. Ooh, nice play there by Hope. He's actually sitting right on top of the drone there, sitting on top of the supply depot. Delays that barracks just a little bit. He can actually get into the base if he wants to, but he knows he'll be trapped, so he decides not to. So, nice little bit of initial harass there. Knows what his opponent's doing. Hatchery first play did come out from the Zerg player. And then we saw Spawning Pool go down. No problems from either side thus far. Just a couple of links coming out. A couple of queens from Hope as well. So, it is Whirlwind, and it's not at least in cross position, so they're a little bit closer. But in the early game, you don't see that much aggression. Doesn't happen. Major with the scout has confirmed that there are no shenanigans going on. Has he confirmed that it's not a 3-hatch? He has. Of course, since he confirmed the spawning pool was there, doesn't need to really worry about that. And now we're going to see this expansion come down for the Terran player. No real worries there. Factory coming down as well. Major electing not to build a Reaper, going straight to Reactor, going straight for macro mode right now. He knows what his opponent's doing. He feels that he doesn't need a Reaper. So, and I'd kind of agree with him, honestly. A couple of links coming in are going to get gunned down. There's going to be 4 queens coming out right here from Hope. So we're going to see major creep spread. Pardon the pun. Mousesports last hope. Mousesports, the new hope. Episode... just shut up. There are times when I'm just going to tell my brain, it's like, you're embarrassing yourself. Quit it. This is why you don't get hired for tournaments anymore. Alright, now Major's going to make his way over, and he's going to find a Ling. He found that hidden Ling. Now it's been gunned down, mercilessly. I'm so sorry. And he has confirmed that this third base position is now relatively clear. He also knows where the overloads are, which is quite useful. It's nice to know. It's like, oh, there's no overload going around there, which means in about 3 hours it's going to make its way into here. And it's going to scout anything, so if I want to hide anything, that's probably not going to happen. Admittedly, at this stage of the game, it's like the Terran... You ever notice, like, Terran just don't really hide anything past, like, the 6-minute mark for the most part. It's fairly rare. Unless you proxy BC like me. But even then, you start building the starport before then. So, the Terran player hiding tech is really not that relevant. You've kind of got to assume that the Terran player has whatever tech that he needs. So, unless you confirm that there's a mech play going on, which obviously is currently not happening since Stimpack is on the way, then there's really not much to find in the Terran base. Alright, we're going to see a partial wall-off, and I do emphasize the word partial, but the Queens are going to see this coming. Not really a lot of Hellions. There's only 4 on the field, but there's about to be 6. He's going to scout the third base. He can't really do anything to it, though. And the creep spread and the queen defense is pretty good. He can slip past if he gets enough Hellions together. He probably can't kill the queens with 6 Hellions, especially with the number of transfuses available. Spine Crawler going down here as well. And we're going to see the double upgrade style. Very classic style here from the Mousesports Zerg player, who has not elected to go up to layer as of yet. Staying on hatchery tech, getting speed, getting +1/+1, which is absolutely fine initially. Hell, tell life about that. It's like, yeah, those are the only units I need. That's absolutely fine. What other tech could you possibly desire other than a bunch of upgraded Zerglings? And we've got a double engineering bay coming out here from Major, so a very economically focused bio play here. This scout is going to be shot to pieces. He's like, oh, he has mules. That was unexpected. So that didn't really teach him all that much, frankly. He already knew about that for the most part. He didn't get a full scout, so he didn't see that refinery going down. That may be indicative of a tech-heavy play there from the Terran player, but I don't really feel that that's massively useful information, and it's not too bad that he missed out on it. Shame he lost an Overlord for that, but hey, it happens. And we've got mostly just contain and map control play coming out right here from Major. He's not even interested in getting into the enemy base, and as a direct result, Hope is powering drones heavily. He's already up to 63, which is a very good amount at this stage, and he's got more on the way. 67 now, and now is going for that layer tech. He'll be going straight into +2/+2, I would imagine, after this, and just sticking on Ling Baneling, and then maybe he could go for the Mutalisk tech, but frankly, his gas count, I don't know, his gas count might be pretty good. Once he hits layer, he could go Spire here, but he's going centrifugal hooks, and it looks like +2/+2, I would think. Maybe he goes for Mutal later on and plays that Ling Muta. There are other styles available, of course, to him. That's a possibility, but I would expect Mutalisk for the most part to come out eventually from the Zerg player right now. Ling Baneling is enough to deal with what his opponent currently has, though. Like, there are no tanks. It's mostly just Marine. Maybe he adds on an Infestation Pit. That's a possibility. But he certainly has what he needs to deal with this, and those upgrades are going to help him a lot. But at the moment, his opponent is trying to catch up on the upgrades. So we're going to see Major go for 2/2. Are we going to see a Spire come down from Hope here? He's sitting on 900 gas. He's got a Spire. Surely he's got a Spire at this stage. Even 2/2, you're not going to be able to sink all of that gas. Not by a long shot. So surely we will see a Spire. 1,000 gas now. Gotta be a Spire. There it is. Alright, Major's now going to push out. No combat shields yet. He's not going to have them by the time he hits the creep, because the creep spread from Hope has been really, really good so far. That's going to give him a massive amount of early warning, especially on this 4th base here. Some creep cleanup is happening here, but this is mostly just Marine Hellion. And are there enough Banelings? Well, he's on creep, so even... Oh, no! Major! Major, 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 you silly bear. That was absolutely unnecessary. Loses all of his Hellions, gets completely surrounded. Fantastic engagement there for Hope. And that was without Baneling speed. Now he's got Baneling speed. Ooh, that was painful. 2/2 now starts. There's going to be at least 10 Mutalisks, probably 11 or 12, maybe even 13 coming out here from Hope. It depends if he decides to go for the +1 upgrade on them immediately, but Major took significant damage in that engagement. In my opinion, he pushed